Good morning, Year 6. Welcome to the last day of this week, Friday the 19th of June 2020. Today we are looking at how to edit and improve our writing. We should have finished our story now and done our 2 drafts so that we are ready now to improve and make it the best story that it can be. We are going to do one more final draft once you have edited your work to make a lovely, neat, well-written story to take with you to secondary school. But before we do that, we need to go through our checklist and have another reminder about how to edit and improve our writing. So if you pause the video here and write the date and LI in your books, that will be wonderful. Okay, just to go over again with you, we are looking for, in your writing, effective use of punctuation, sentence structure used for impact, figurative language, dad waivers, and adverbial phrases. Hopefully you have used all of these things in your writing and that you've incorporated the cards with the different tasks or the challenges that you needed to include in your writing as well. And all of those together have accumulated in a wonderful piece of writing. So we're going to do some editing steps today, and we are going to be going through a bit by bit all of the things that we need to look for in our writing in order to make it better. So the first thing we're going to do is look at punctuation. So you need to ask yourself, have I used capital letters for starts of sentences and proper nouns, full stops to finish my sentences, question marks or exclamation marks if needed, commas in a list or to separate clauses, brackets to add extra information, and semicolons, which are used to separate clauses. Alongside that, we also needed to include ellipses in our writing as well. So if you have used those things and you think you have done really well with it, that is amazing. If you think you still need to do a little bit of editing on that, then I would pause here and I would look back at a work and then with a different colour pen maybe go through and correct that punctuation first. Okay, our next editing step is adverbs and adverbial phrases. So have we used adverbs in sentences? Have we used prepositional phrases where we've used words for such as under, above, between? And have we used phrases that tell the reader when, where, how or why something happened? And can you switch some of your sentence structures around to give you a fronted adverbial? So see if you could do that. If you do have fronted adverbials in your writing, then you're more likely to be hitting those higher gradings, the expected and the greater depth. So see if you can do that in your work. I think it's really, really important that you pause here and have a really good look at your writing and make sure that you've included these things, because these are the bits that you need to include in order to really impress your new teacher. Okay, so now we're moving on to editing step 3. Have you used different openers in your writing? So lots of sentences start with determiners such as the, a or an. So maybe see if you can change those sentences around or add in different openers instead. See how you go with that. So pause the video here and have a look at changing your openers. Okay, for editing step 4, have you used correct spelling? So use a dictionary for words that you're not sure about. Check your spellings using the Year 5 and 6 spelling list, which you all should have, and share your work with someone else so they can check through your spellings as well. Spellings are really, really key. So if you know that you've got a spelling wrong or you're not sure about it, you have a dictionary, so there's really no excuse for getting spellings wrong. So please use that so that you can correct your spellings and then you can actually learn them and see how these words are actually formed. Okay, so please take your time and go through your spellings. Okay, editing step 5. Have you used figurative language? So we're talking about similes, metaphors, personification, alliteration, idioms, onomatopoeia, all of those things that we talked about and we've talked about for many lessons this week. You need to make sure you're including all of that in your writing because that's where your description is really going to go up a level. Okay, so please make sure you're using all of these in your writing. So pause here and just go through that list. Maybe go through the dad waivers list as well at this point just to check that you've included everything that you need. Okay, editing step 6. Have you used interesting adjectives? I want you to go through and see if there's some boring adjectives that you think you could make better. You can have a look in the thesaurus. You can access thesaurus online as well. You don't just need a book. There is online thesauruses available on the internet. and see if you can find a better alternative to those words. Make sure you share your work with someone who may be able to pick out the words that need improving, or read out your work out loud to check it makes sense and that you've used the most creative vocabulary that you can. If you find a word in the thesaurus and you use it, please make sure you read the sentence again to check that that word fits. Don't just swap one for the other, because sometimes the words don't quite fit and they don't read well, or they're not grammatically correct. So be very careful with your word selection, but please use a thesaurus and try and up-level your work as much as you can. Okay, so now you should have a wonderfully edited piece of work. Don't worry if it looks messy and it's covered in all different drawings and doodles and everything on there. Absolutely fine. You now need to write a final neat draft, and that means beautifully handwritten, joined up in pen, and it needs to be your best handwriting that you can. Okay, and it's the first piece of work you're going to show your new teacher, so it needs to be amazing. So please make sure that you are doing this work, you're taking your time. You have time, you don't have to do it today in neat. If you've done lots of editing and you're tired, tomorrow you wake up in the morning and just all you're doing is copying out your work. So it shouldn't take you very long. Take your time with it. Think about how you're impressing your teacher. Okay, and I will speak to you on Monday. I wish you a lovely, lovely weekend, and that you have some rest and you enjoy some lovely family time. Stay safe and stay happy.